Hi, and thank you so much for joining me for another exciting episode of the Vintage Read Show. Well, I've been looking very deeply into Tom Bower's book, The Rebel Prince, which later became The Rebel King. Same book, just the updated version. And in it, Tom Bower states that in May 2001, at Charles's suggestion, Porcelanosa, famous for their beautiful tiles, created an Islamic garden, especially for the Chelsea Flower Show, with cypresses and fruit trees, a marble fountain, terracotta pathways, and 70,000 handmade mosaic tiles. Now, that same year, the then Prince Charles flew to Spain to open a new wing of the company's factory and be its guest of honour at a dinner for 452 people, which seems a little unusual sort of royal assignment. In return, the company agreed that an extended version of the Islamic garden that they displayed at the Chelsea Flower Show would be installed at their expense at Highgrove. The quote is this: "We gave the garden to him and he repaid us with a dinner for our clients." However, for more than 20 years, the then Prince Charles demonstrated a scholarly engagement with the faith, as well as public support for Muslim communities, demonstrating a keenness to promote unity. And he's frequently spoken really positively about Islam, emphasizing the contributions to global civilization. He's made many speeches highlighting its shared values with Christianity. Now, I guess I don't have to point out that that often goes down like a lead balloon in the Church of England and the wider Christian community. Now, let's look at some recent examples that have caused a lot of tension, like the Easter message, for example. King Charles included references to Islam and Judaism in his Easter message, and he emphasized shared values like compassion and care for others. Now, critics, including the former Queen's chaplain, called it disrespectful and a theological mistake. Now, some Christians felt King Charles, as defender of the faith and head of the Church of England, should focus solely on Christianity, it being Easter and all. Also, the Windsor Castle hosted an iftar event attended by 360 Muslim guests, and there was an Islamic call to prayer, which drew significant backlash, with some accusing King Charles of pandering to Islam or undermining his role as defender of the faith. However, others defended the event as inclusive and saying that it reflected his role as head of the Commonwealth. Now, some of the King's harshest critics argue that this interfaith approach, such as suggesting shared ethics across religions, overlooks their rather stark theological differences and weakens his role as the Christian monarch. But however, his supporters say that his actions reflect his role as a unifying figure in a multicultural UK and Commonwealth, one with a significant Muslim population. Now, the criticism largely stems from those who believe his inclusive gestures compromise his duty to uphold Christianity, while supporters see them as fulfilling his broader responsibility to represent all faiths. Now, it must be said that all of this is perceived as quite unusual for a British monarch. King Charles III has even been accused of secretly converting to Islam. Now, I don't really subscribe to that theory, but I guess how do we really know? It came about in 1996, all those accusations, and it alleged that Charles converted in Turkey. Now, Buckingham Palace is on the record as dismissing this as complete nonsense. Now, in this book, Tom Bower also talks about Charles being enthralled by the Arab world, and particularly by the Saudi royal family. Now, this isn't unique to Charles. The royal fondness for Arab royal families has persisted, seemingly motivated by economic motives. It could be said they bonded over lavish gifts such as racehorses and endless jewels. Now, Norman Baker, who also has a book coming out in September that I'll be interested to read, is a former Liberal Democrat MP and author of "And What Do You Do? What the Royal Family Don't Want You to Know." Now, he's been very vocal about his criticism of the British royal family's extensive interactions with autocratic Arab monarchies. And we all know that he's all for, not my king sort of republic groups. But his objections centre on the moral, democratic, and financial implications of these associations, particularly in the context of the British monarchy's role and public funding. Now, Baker states that there's just too many meetings between the British royal family and the Arab royal family. Over 120 documented meetings with 8 Middle Eastern monarchies since the 2011 Arab Spring. Now, this lends legitimacy to regimes that suppress democracy and violate human rights. Now, he describes these interactions as embarrassing and a stain on this country. As an example of that, he points to meetings with the Bahraini royals, including figures accused of torturing activists. He criticises the British royals for acting like an imperial monarchy, clinging to outdated traditions while engaging with unelected Arab monarchs who share similar hereditary power. He says they engage with dodgy regimes for diplomatic or economic gain, and I think Prince Andrew has given us ample evidence of that recently. He cites examples like King Charles receiving millions in cash from Qatari royals and attending events with Bahraini royals linked to human rights abuses. So it's a lot to sort of fathom and work out, isn't it? And I hope I've presented many sides to this debate. The tension is indeed rising. I mean, people are getting really hot under the collar over all of this, and it is very much affecting King Charles III's popularity. Let me know what you think down below. I haven't really made up my mind yet. I sort of swing from one side to the other. I'm trying to be balanced about it. I'm trying not to rush to judgment. But I must say that Tom Bower's book is pretty shocking, and it does raise quite significant questions. I'll see you again soon. Bye.